Am I wrong for not telling my wife her friend made a move on me? A secret moment. A broken trust. A choice I can't undo. Asterisk, I never meant for it to happen. I never wanted to be in this position. But now that I am, I can't stop wondering. Was silence the right choice? Or did I ruin everything by keeping it to myself? It started one Friday evening. My wife Sarah had a few friends over. They were loud, laughing, drinking wine, playing music from their college days. Stayed in the kitchen, washing dishes, letting them have their fun. I didn't want to interrupt. That's when Lena came in, Sarah's best friend, tall, confident, the kind of woman who always filled a room. She smiled at me, leaned on the counter. You're always so quiet, Adam. I chuckled, just giving you lady space. She tilted her head. Your quietness is attractive. I froze. That wasn't normal, not from Lena. I tried to brush it off, but then she stepped closer, touched my arm. Slowly. Her fingers stayed too long. Then she whispered, if Sarah ever gets tired of you, call me. I didn't know what to say. I laughed. Awkwardly, stepped back, wiped my hands, changed the subject. I think they're calling you for the next game. She winked, turned, and walked out, like nothing had happened. I stood there, frozen, breathing, heavy, hands shaking slightly. A part of me was angry, a big part, because that crossed a line, a very big line. But another part of me, it was scared of what telling Sarah might do. Lena is more than a friend to her. She's like a sister. They've known each other since childhood. She was the maid of honor at our wedding. She helped pick Sarah's dress, held her hand during childbirth. If I told her, what would that do to their friendship? What if she didn't believe me? Or worse, what if she did believe me and blamed herself somehow? So I said nothing. I convinced myself it was harmless. A one-time thing. I avoided Lena after that. Never stayed alone with her again. A few weeks passed. I thought it was over. But then, it happened again. Another party. This time at Lena's place. A group of couples. Games, laughter, drinks. Sarah went upstairs to check on our daughter, and once again, Lena found me alone in the kitchen. She leaned in too close, smelled like wine and perfume. She whispered, you didn't tell her, did you? I didn't answer. She smiled. Good, you're smart. Then she brushed her hand across my chest and walked away. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay next to Sarah, listening to her soft breathing, watching her chest rise and fall. She looked so peaceful, so trusting, so safe. And I was drowning in guilt, not because I did anything, but because I didn't do enough. I should have told her, should have stopped it sooner. I should have never let it happen again. But still, I stayed silent. One night, Sarah noticed, you've been quiet lately. I smiled, just tired from work. She nodded, accepted it, trusted me. And that made it worse. Then came the breaking point. Sarah came home one day, tears in her eyes. I rushed to her. What's wrong? She held up her phone. A text from an unknown number. It read, your husband is keeping secrets from you. Ask him about Lena. I went cold. Everything spun. I tried to speak, but my throat closed. She stared at me, eyes wide. I didn't believe it at first. She said, but now I need to know. Adam, what happened? I swallowed hard and told her everything. From the first night to the second to the silence. She didn't speak. She just sat, staring at the floor. After a long pause, she said, so you let her touch you, you let her flirt, you let her disrespect our marriage, and you said nothing? I didn't want to hurt you, I whispered. She laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. Hurt me? You protected her, not me. That night, she slept in our daughter's room. The next morning, she packed a bag, said she needed space. She didn't know what to believe anymore. I begged her to stay. To listen. To understand, but she was gone. Week passed, then 2. Then 3. I didn't hear from her. Only updates from her sister. She's not ready to talk. I sent messages, long ones. Short ones. Apologies. Explaining. Begging. Nothing worked. Then one day, she came back. Not with a smile, not with anger, but with quiet. She sat on the couch. Said calmly, I talked to Lena. My heart dropped. She admitted it, Sarah said. She told me you never touched her. Never encouraged it, but you did stay quiet. I nodded. Tears in my eyes. I'm sorry. She looked at me. Her voice cracked. You weren't wrong for not touching her, Adam, but you were wrong for not protecting me from her. That hit me hard. So hard. Then she said something that broke me. Love isn't just about loyalty, Adam. It's about courage too. We're still together, but it's not the same. There's space between us now. An invisible wall. Thin, but strong, made of what I didn't say. I don't know if it'll ever go back to how it was. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but I learned something. Sometimes, says the loudest betrayal. Sometimes, doing nothing is the same as doing something wrong. So, was I wrong for not telling my wife her friend made a move on me? Yes, I was. Not because I cheated, not because I wanted it, but because I didn't fight hard enough to keep her trust whole. Asterisk. When Sarah came back, I thought we'd be okay. I thought her return meant forgiveness. But I was wrong. She didn't come back to start over. She came back to process. To observe. To See if we could survive what had already died. We lived in the same house. But we weren't. The same. She no longer kissed me goodnight. She didn't hold my hand when we walked. She smiled less, spoke less. And when she looked at me, it wasn't the way she used to. Our daughter, Alina, only 5 years old, felt the change too. She once said, "Why? Doesn't mommy laugh with you anymore?" I had no answer, just a tight smile and a broken heart. I tried. I made her breakfast every morning, left notes on her mirror, cleaned the house top to bottom, ran her baths. But she didn't say thank you, not out of rudeness, but because gratitude is hard when trust is gone. One night, I finally asked her, "Do you hate me?" She looked up from her book. "No." "Then why won't you talk to me like before?" She put the book down. Side. "Because I don't know if I'm healing or just getting numb." That hurt, but I understood. Had no right to demand her trust again. I had broken something, not by cheating, but by being a coward. A few days later, she sat across from me after dinner. "I'm going to therapy." I nodded. "That's good," she added. "Alone?" I nodded again. "I understand." Weeks passed, then months. We coexisted. Talked about bills, groceries, Alina's school, but never about us. Then, one evening, as I put Alina to bed, she asked, "Are you and mommy still married?" I paused. "Yes, sweetheart." "Then why does it feel like you're not?" That question cut me deeper than anything Sarah had ever said. I told Sarah that night. Word for word. She sat in silence. Tears welled in her eyes. "She's starting to notice." I nodded. Yes. She wiped her face. "I don't want to break this family, neither do I." That was the first real conversation we had in months. The next day she handed me a flyer. Couples therapy. Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. I looked up. "Are we doing this?" She didn't smile. She just said, "We owe it to Alina." So we went, week after week. Some sessions were quiet, some were painful. Some ended with her crying in the car. Others ended with us eating quietly at a diner. One day, the therapist asked, "Adam, why didn't you tell Sarah right away?" I took a breath, because I didn't want to hurt her. Sarah interrupted, "No, you didn't want her to hate you." I looked at her. She continued, "You didn't protect me. You protected yourself from my anger." She was right. And darkness is where trust dies. That night, we sat in the car after the session. Neither of us moved. Then she whispered, "I want to believe you love me, but you let someone insult me in my own home. My best friend, and you said nothing." I couldn't look at her. I just said, "I know." It wasn't enough, but it was honest. 3 months into therapy, things started to shift. Slightly. She laughed at one of my jokes, touched my hand by accident and didn't pull away, fell asleep beside me on the couch. These were small things, but to me, they were huge. Then one morning, she made me coffee. Left a note beside it. "Thank you for trying." That one note made me cry, but the real test came soon. We were invited to a mutual friend's birthday party, and Lena would be there. I looked at Sarah. "I'll stay home." She shook her head. "No, we're going together." I was shocked. "Are you sure?" "Yes. I need to face it. I need her to see that she didn't win." At the party, Lena looked at me. Then at Sarah. She walked over, smiled fakely. "Sarah. Adam. Glad you came." Sarah stared at her. I almost didn't, but then I remembered who I am. And who you'll never be. Then she walked away, took my hand, and we left early. That was the moment I knew. She was trying to forgive me. Not because she had to, but because she wanted to. For us. For Alina. Months passed. We got better. Not perfect, but better. We talked more, laughed more. She even kissed me one morning before I left for work. And then, one night, she came into the room, wearing the old hoodie I loved. She sat beside me. "I'm ready now." "Ready for what?" "To say it." "Say what?" "I forgive you." My eyes filled. I held her, tighter than I ever had before. She looked at me and said, "You're not the man who hurt me, Adam. You're the man who stayed and helped me heal." I didn't deserve her forgiveness, but she gave it anyway, and that is love. Not perfect, not painless, but real. So now, when people ask me, was it a big deal? You didn't cheat. You didn't want her. So why all the drama? I answer this. It's not always about actions. Sometimes it's about silence. And silence can scream betrayal louder than words. We're okay now, not because we forgot, but because we faced it. Together. Lena is no longer in our lives. Sarah cut her off, blocked her. Deleted every photo, every memory. And she doesn't miss her. Not for a second. As for me, I learned. I changed. I speak now, even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it might hurt. Because hiding truth is no longer my instinct. One night, I said, "You've given me more than I ever deserved." Sarah smiled. "No, I gave you exactly what you earned. When you finally chose honesty over comfort." Now when I hold her hand, it feels new, like I'm holding trust, and I'll never drop it again. People say forgiveness is the end of the storm, but sometimes It's just the eye of it. Calm for a moment. Then chaos returns. After Sarah forgave me. We grew closer, more than before. She smiled more, held my hand again, started leaving lipstick kisses on my morning coffee cups. We began planning a weekend trip. Just you as two. To reconnect. To breathe again. We told Alina, Nana will watch you for 2 days. Mommy and Daddy need some alone time. She smiled. Okay. But bring me candy. That night, Sarah packed our bags. Put on her favorite soft sweater, and we left. We went to a quiet cabin. No internet. No distractions. Just trees. Rain. And us. We played cards. Cooked. Together. Listened to old songs. Danced under the dim kitchen lights. On the second night, we sat by the fireplace. Wine in hand. Blankets wrapped tight. She looked at me and said, I believe you now about everything, even the fear you had. I nodded. She continued, but I still don't know if I'll ever feel like the woman you protected. My heart sank. I want you to feel that. She smiled sadly. I know, and I'm trying. But something in me broke, not because of Lena, but because you froze when I needed fire. I didn't argue. I had no defense, only regret. The next morning, we packed up, drove home. Held hands the entire ride. But a quiet lingered between us. Weeks passed. We slipped into routine again. But something was off. Not wrong. Just off. Then one evening, we were folding laundry. Alina was playing nearby. Sarah suddenly asked, have you heard from her? I didn't need to ask who. No, I said. She nodded. Good. Then silence. I should have left it there. But I didn't. I asked, would it help if I wrote everything down? Everything I felt, what I didn't say back then. She looked surprised, then said, maybe. Sometimes words are easier to understand on paper. So that night I wrote her a letter, not a love letter. A truth letter. I told her every emotion I had. That night. Every fear, every reason I stayed silent. I told her I felt powerless. Frozen. Not because I didn't care, but because I cared too much, and I didn't want to break her world. I slipped the letter under her pillow and went to sleep on the couch. Not because we fought, but because I wanted her to read it without watching me. In the morning, she didn't say anything, but her eyes were soft. She poured me coffee. Sat beside me. And whispered, thank you. After that, we became stronger. More honest. More gentle. One Sunday, we had friends over. Couples. Laughing. Barbecue. Sarah looked stunning in a white summer dress. I watched her from across the yard. How she smiled. How she laughed again without hesitation. Felt proud, because she had rebuilt herself, and I had been lucky enough to witness it. Then someone asked, hey Adam, remember Lena? The name hit the air like thunder. Everyone looked around. Awkward. Silent. I smiled politely. Let's not bring up the past. Sarah nodded. Some things are better buried. Later that night, as we cleaned up, she looked at me and said, thank you for handling that the way you did. I smiled. You shouldn't be the one protecting me from her name. She touched my face. I'm not protecting you, I'm protecting our peace. Peace. A word that once felt like a dream. Now became our home. Months passed. Sarah and I started hosting a podcast together. About healing. Love. Forgiveness. We didn't share every detail, but we spoke of trust, of silence, of rebuilding. One episode. Woman wrote in. My husband never told me his coworker flirted with him. Now I feel like he betrayed me. I read her message, then said, I once made the same mistake. Sometimes silence is louder than words. And it breaks more than just trust. It breaks how someone sees you. Sarah added, but healing is possible, if you're both willing to bleed a little together first. We got thousands of messages after that. People saying they felt seen. Understood. Heard. One night, Alina came in while we were recording. Mommy? Daddy? Can I be on the podcast too? Sarah smiled. Only if you promise not to reveal all our secrets. Alina giggled. I just want to say something. We handed her the mic. She said, I love my mommy and daddy because they never gave up on each other. That moment. That was the real healing, because we realized something. We hadn't just survived a betrayal. We had taught our daughter what rebuilding looks like. What real love looks like. Messy. Flawed. But worth it. 1 year later, we renewed our vows. In the garden. Just us, Alina, and a few close friends. Sarah wore the same dress. I wore the same suit. But this time, our eyes held more truth, more fire. More depth. I held her hand and said, this time, I promise to never stay silent when your heart needs to be defended. She replied, and I promise to keep forgiving as long as you keep fighting for us. The kiss after that view tasted like victory. So, am I wrong for not telling my wife or friend made a move on me? Yes, I was, but I grew, I learned, I changed, and most of all, I stayed. Not everyone gets a second chance, and not everyone earns one. But if you do, hold it like it's fragile. Because it is. And now, when I sit beside Sarah at the end of a long day, and she rests her head on my shoulder, I don't feel like a man who failed. I feel like a man who rebuilt, one truth at a time.